We all get stuck. At some point, life begins to feel like an endless loop. Same routine, same struggles, same results. It's as if we're running on a treadmill, exhausted but going nowhere. But what if I told you that the problem isn't the treadmill? It's that we've forgotten how to step off. Resetting your life isn't about throwing everything away and starting over. It's about realigning with what truly matters. It's about taking back control. And today, I want to show you how. If you're feeling the need to reset your life, the first step isn't action. It's understanding. It's clarity. Because without clarity of purpose, any change you make will be like rearranging furniture in a house that's about to be demolished. It might look different for a while, but eventually the same cracks will appear and you'll find yourself back where you started. Too often we chase change without asking ourselves the most fundamental question: why am I doing this? We switch careers, end relationships, start new habits, move to different cities, believing that a new environment, a new routine, or a new opportunity will magically create fulfillment. But the problem isn't always external. The problem is that we lack direction. And when you lack direction, it doesn't matter how much effort you put in, you'll still feel lost. And clarity of purpose is not just about knowing what you want to do. It's about understanding why it matters. It's about stripping away the noise, the expectations of others, the societal pressures, the self-imposed deadlines, and reconnecting with what truly drives you. When you have clarity, decisions become easier. Doubt diminishes. Motivation stops being something you have to search for and instead becomes something that fuels you naturally. But here's the challenge. Finding clarity isn't easy. Most of us are so caught up in the motion of life that we rarely stop to question if the direction we're moving in is even the right one. We wake up, go to work, complete tasks, meet obligations, and repeat the process day after day. And over time, we convince ourselves that this is just how life is supposed to be, that feeling unfulfilled is normal, that exhaustion is a badge of honor, that wanting more is selfish. The truth is, clarity doesn't come from doing more, it comes from stepping back. It comes from asking hard questions and being brutally honest with yourself. It comes from recognizing the difference between what you think you should want and what actually fulfills you. Because when you strip everything away, titles, possessions, achievements, social approval, what's left? What truly matters to you at your core? Most people never take the time to answer this. They assume clarity will come after they've achieved something, after they've made more money, after they've secured the promotion, after they've checked all the boxes society told them to check. But clarity doesn't come from achievement. It comes before achievement. It's the foundation that everything else is built upon. Without it, you'll always feel like something is missing. You'll always feel like you're chasing something undefined, something just out of reach. But once you gain clarity of purpose, everything changes. You stop chasing and start building. You stop reacting and start leading. Discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that something is changing. Yet, for most of us, the moment we feel discomfort, we pull back, we resist. We convince ourselves that this feeling, this unease, this uncertainty, this tension means we're on the wrong path. But what if discomfort wasn't the enemy? What if it was the very thing pointing us in the right direction? From the moment we're born, we are wired to seek comfort. As children, we cry when we're hungry, when we're cold, when we're afraid. And as we grow older, that instinct doesn't disappear, it just evolves. We chase security, we look for the easiest route. We avoid pain, risk, and uncertainty, convincing ourselves that staying in a familiar place, even if it's unfulfilling, is better than stepping into the unknown. But growth and comfort cannot coexist. Every meaningful transformation in life, every breakthrough, every moment of real progress comes from a place of discomfort. Think about it. The greatest athletes, the most successful entrepreneurs, the most fulfilled individuals, didn't get to where they are by staying within their comfort zones. They got there by embracing discomfort, by stepping into situations that forced them to grow, by willingly putting themselves in positions where they had to struggle, learn, and adapt. And yet, when it comes to our own lives, we hesitate. We tell ourselves, I'll take the leap when I feel ready. I'll make the change when the timing is perfect. I'll step outside my comfort zone when I'm more confident. But here's the truth. That moment never comes. Readiness isn't something you wait for, it's something you create. Discomfort is a signal that you're stepping beyond the limits of who you used to be, and that's exactly where you need to be. Think about the last time you truly felt alive, when your heart was racing, when you were fully present, when you were stretched beyond what you thought was possible. That feeling doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from pushing boundaries, from standing at the edge of your comfort zone and stepping forward anyway. But the challenge is, our minds are wired to resist change. The moment we feel discomfort, our instincts tell us to retreat. This is scary, this is risky, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? That voice in our head is not there to stop us from succeeding. It's there to keep us safe. But safety and growth are not the same thing. We see discomfort as something to be avoided, but in reality, it is the greatest teacher we have. Every difficult conversation we've avoided, every challenge we've shied away from, every fear we've let dictate our decisions, those are the moments where growth was waiting for us. The problem is never the discomfort itself. The problem is our perception of it. We think of struggle as a sign that we're failing, when in reality, it's a sign that we're evolving. We think of fear as a stop sign, when really, it's an invitation. The difference between those who move forward in life and those who stay stuck isn't talent, intelligence, or luck. It's their relationship with discomfort. Because the people who go the farthest are not the ones who avoid discomfort. They are the ones who lean into it. You spend the most time with aren't just part of your life, they are shaping it. Whether you realize it or not, they are influencing your mindset, your habits, your beliefs, and ultimately your future. The question is, are they shaping you into the person you want to become, or are they keeping you exactly where you are? We like to believe that we are independent thinkers, that we make decisions based on logic and personal ambition. But human beings are social creatures. We are influenced by our environment in ways we don't always recognize. Studies show that we subconsciously adopt the behaviors, attitudes, and even the financial habits of the people closest to us. If the people in your circle are driven, positive, and constantly striving for more, chances are you'll be inspired to do the same. But if they are negative, complacent, or full of excuses, you will eventually find yourself mirroring those patterns. Take a moment to reflect on the 5 people you spend the most time with. Ask yourself, do they challenge me to grow, or do they keep me comfortable? Do they celebrate my wins, or do they downplay my success? Do they inspire me, or do they drain my energy? Do they push me forward, or do they pull me back? These are not small questions. These are the questions that determine whether you will evolve or stay stuck. Because no matter how much ambition you have, if you are constantly surrounded by people who operate from a place of fear, negativity, or stagnation, their energy will rub off on you. We don't always recognize it in the moment. We think we are simply being supportive, loyal, or keeping the peace. But over time, we start shrinking to fit into spaces we've outgrown. We start downplaying our goals so we don't make others uncomfortable. We start suppressing our own potential to maintain relationships that no longer serve us. This is why auditing your circle is not just important, it's essential. It's not about cutting people off for the sake of it. It's about making intentional choices about who gets access to your time, energy, and mental space. Because your time and energy are limited resources. And if you are constantly spending them on people who do not align with your values, you will have nothing left to invest in your own growth. Some relationships serve a season, some serve a lifetime. The key is knowing the difference. Not everyone is meant to go with you to the next level of your life. And that's okay. Growth is not just about adding new things, it's also about letting go. But here's where most people struggle. Letting go is uncomfortable. We hold on to relationships out of guilt, out of obligation, out of fear of being alone. But the harsh truth is, if someone in your life is holding you back, it doesn't matter how long you've known them. It doesn't matter how much history you have. What matters is whether they are contributing to your future or keeping you tied to your past. This is not about perfection. No one is going to be positive, driven, and inspiring 100% of the time. But there is a difference between someone who has bad days and someone who lives in a constant state of negativity. There is a difference between someone who is struggling but trying and someone who refuses to grow. You owe it to yourself to be surrounded by people who push you forward, people who challenge you to think bigger, people who inspire you to become the best version of yourself. Because the truth is, your circle is either an anchor weighing you down or a sail propelling you forward. The choice is yours. Have you ever found yourself repeating the same patterns, living the same experiences, or facing the same struggles over and over again? You tell yourself, this time will be different. You make a change. You feel motivated. You take action. But somehow, weeks or months later, you find yourself right back where you started. Different circumstances maybe, but the same outcome. Why does this happen? Why do we keep falling into the same cycles even when we know they're not serving us? The answer is simple, because we are creatures of habit. We don't live our lives based on what we want. We live our lives based on what we know. And what we know is what feels familiar. Think about it. If you grew up in an environment where struggle was normal, where playing small was encouraged, where opportunities felt scarce, then breaking out of that mindset as an adult isn't just difficult, it feels unnatural. Even if you dream of something bigger, even if you consciously know you deserve more, part of you will always feel pulled back to what is familiar. Not because you want to stay stuck, but because that's how your mind has been wired to function. The brain seeks patterns. It looks for shortcuts. It relies on past experiences to predict future outcomes. So if for years you've been conditioned to think a certain way, behave a certain way, or expect a certain level of success or failure, that becomes your default setting. And unless you consciously interrupt that cycle, it will keep running on repeat. But here's the catch. Breaking the cycle isn't just about changing your actions, it's about changing your identity. Because if you see yourself as the same person, you will keep making the same choices. And those choices will lead to the same results. Think about someone who wants to get in shape, but is always identified as the person who hates exercise. They can sign up for a gym, hire a trainer, buy all the right equipment, but if they still believe they are someone who struggles with fitness, they will eventually fall back into old habits. Or take someone who wants financial success, but has always seen themselves as bad with money. They might save for a while, start a budget, even make more income. But if deep down they still believe they are irresponsible with finances, they will unconsciously find ways to sabotage their progress. Or take someone who wants financial success, but has always seen themselves as bad with money. They might save for a while, start a budget, even make more income. But if deep down they still believe they are irresponsible with finances, they will unconsciously find ways to sabotage their progress. This is why real change starts with identity. You don't just change what you do, you change what you believe about yourself. So ask yourself, what patterns have I been repeating in my life? Are you constantly drawn to relationships that drain you? Do you keep finding yourself in jobs that make you feel unfulfilled? Do you set goals but never follow through? Do you make progress only to self-sabotage right before you reach success? These are not coincidences, these are cycles, and the first step to breaking them is recognizing them Because the moment you become aware of the pattern, you take back control. You realize that just because something has always been a certain way doesn't mean it has to stay that way. You are not bound by your past. You are not stuck in your habits. The cycle only continues if you let it. But awareness alone is not enough. Recognition without action is just observation. If you want to break the cycle, you have to disrupt it. You have to make decisions that feel uncomfortable. You have to stop reacting out of habit and start acting with intention. And here's the thing, the moment you try to change, your mind will resist. It will tell you, this isn't you, this feels weird, this is too hard. Not because it's impossible, but because it's unfamiliar. And unfamiliar feels unsafe, even when it's exactly what you need. This is why most people never break free. They start to change, they feel resistance, and they mistake that resistance for a sign that they should stop. They go back to what feels comfortable, even if comfortable is the very thing holding them back. But here's the truth. Discomfort is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. If you are not willing to sit with that discomfort, you will never escape the cycle. Because the life you want is on the other side of the habits you refuse to change. We love the idea of overnight transformation, the big leap, the dramatic change, the moment when everything clicks and suddenly life is different. But real change, lasting change, doesn't happen in one sweeping motion. It happens through small, intentional shifts repeated consistently over time. Yet, most people overlook the power of small changes because they don't feel significant in the moment. If a single workout doesn't transform your body, it feels pointless. If one day of saving money doesn't make you rich, it seems insignificant. If one productive morning doesn't instantly change your habits, it feels like you're not making progress. And that's exactly why most people stay stuck. They underestimate the power of small shifts. They think, if I can't make a big change right now, why bother at all? But that mindset is the very thing keeping them from progress. Because massive success isn't built on massive actions. It's built on small actions repeated consistently over time. Think about water carving through rock. It doesn't happen in an instant. A single drop of water is weak, insignificant, but when that same drop falls over and over again, day after day, year after year, it wears away even the hardest surface. That's the power of consistency. Now, apply this to your life. The things you do every day, the small habits, the daily decisions, the subtle choices, are shaping your future far more than any one big action ever could. Want to get healthier? You don't need a complete lifestyle overhaul overnight. Start by drinking more water, walking 10 extra minutes, sleeping 30 minutes earlier. Small shifts, big impact. Want to build better relationships? You don't have to become a completely different person. Start by listening more, sending a thoughtful message, showing appreciation. Small shifts, big impact. Want to improve your mindset? You don't need to be positive 24/7. Start by replacing one negative thought with a productive one. Reading 5 pages of a good book. Limiting your time around negativity. Small shifts, big impact. But here's the problem. Small shifts don't feel exciting. They don't give you an instant dopamine rush. And that's why most people quit before they see results. They expect immediate validation, and when they don't get it, they assume it's not working. But change isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. Doing something huge once won't change your life. Doing something small every day will. Take compounding interest as an example. If you invest a tiny amount of money consistently, over time, that small amount grows into something massive. It's not magic, it's math. And the same principle applies to every area of life: your habits, your mindset, your relationships, your career. Everything compounds. But the challenge is compounding works both ways. Positive habits build momentum, but so do negative ones. If you eat slightly unhealthy food every day, it won't ruin your health immediately, but over time, the effects add up. If you ignore your personal growth just a little bit every day, it won't seem like a big deal until years pass and you realize how far behind you've fallen. This is why small shifts matter, because whether you're aware of it or not, your daily actions are moving you in a direction. The question is, are they moving you toward the life you want or away from it? But here's where most people get stuck. They wait for motivation. They think, I'll start when I feel ready. I'll take action when I have more time. I'll make a change when I feel inspired. But waiting for motivation is like waiting for the wind to blow in the perfect direction before you set sail. It might happen, it might not. And in the meantime, you're standing still. The key isn't to rely on motivation, it's to rely on momentum. Start small. Do something, anything, and let the momentum build. Because once you start seeing results, even tiny ones, it creates a chain reaction. One workout leads to another. One productive morning turns into a habit. One small shift in your mindset starts reshaping how you see the world. And the best part, once those small shifts become part of your identity, they don't feel like effort anymore. They become automatic. Just like negative habits become second nature, so do positive ones. So if you want to change your life, stop looking for the big breakthrough. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop believing that change has to be drastic to be meaningful. Because the truth is, the most powerful transformations don't happen all at once. They happen through small, consistent actions repeated every single day. Commit to the infinite game. Most of us have been conditioned to play life as if it were a finite game, a game with clear rules, fixed timelines, and a definitive point where we either win or lose. We set goals with the expectation that once we achieve them, we'll have made it. We chase success as if it's a finish line, believing that when we cross it, we can finally relax, finally be happy, finally feel fulfilled. But life doesn't work that way. Life is not a game that you win. There is no final score, no trophy ceremony, no moment where everything is permanently figured out. The moment you start seeing life as a finite game, you set yourself up for frustration, burnout, and disappointment. Because every time you achieve something, a promotion, financial success, personal growth, you quickly realize there's still more ahead, more to learn, more to improve, more challenges to face. This is why we must shift our perspective. We must stop chasing the illusion of arriving and start committing to the infinite game. An infinite game has no end. There are no winners and losers. Only those who stay in the game and those who drop out. And the only real objective is to keep playing, to keep growing, to keep evolving. Look at the most successful people in any field. The ones who sustain greatness over decades. The ones who don't just achieve success, but continuously redefine it. They don't see themselves as competitors in a race with a finish line. They see themselves as players in an ongoing game, constantly learning, constantly adapting, constantly pushing forward. Think about an athlete at the peak of their career. If they believe they've won because they've reached a championship level, they stop improving, they plateau. And sooner or later, they get overtaken by someone who is still playing the infinite game. Someone who is still refining their skills, still putting in the work, still looking for ways to grow. This applies to every aspect of life. In business, companies that focus only on quarterly profits and short-term wins often fail in the long run. The most enduring companies are the ones that prioritize innovation, adaptability, and long-term vision. In relationships, if you believe your job is done once you find the right person, you risk complacency. The healthiest relationships are the ones where both people commit to growth, to learning, to deepening the connection over time. In personal development, if you think reaching a certain milestone means you're done, you'll eventually become stagnant. But if you see growth as a lifelong journey, you will never stop improving, never stop learning, never stop evolving. The challenge is most people don't think this way. We live in a society that celebrates short-term wins. We idolize people who achieve rapid success. We are constantly looking for shortcuts, quick fixes, instant gratification. We want results now. But playing the infinite game requires patience. It requires resilience. It requires the ability to keep going even when there's no immediate reward, even when things are uncertain, even when progress feels slow. Because the truth is, those who play the infinite game don't burn out chasing validation. They don't feel empty after achieving a goal because they never saw that goal as the end. They saw it as a stepping stone. They don't fear competition because they aren't measuring their success by someone else's timeline. This mindset shift is liberating. When you commit to the infinite game, you stop feeling rushed. You stop feeling like you're falling behind. You stop defining your success by arbitrary milestones. Instead, you focus on consistent progress, on long-term growth, on becoming better today than you were yesterday. But here's the challenge. The infinite game requires humility. It requires you to acknowledge that you will never know everything, that you will never be done, that every new level you reach will present new challenges, new lessons, new opportunities for growth. And that can be uncomfortable. Most people would rather believe in the illusion of a finish line because it feels safer, more certain. But certainty is a trap. The moment you think you've arrived, you stop moving forward. The most fulfilled people are not the ones who reach a single moment of success. They're the ones who remain curious, adaptable, and open to the journey. They understand that real success is not about reaching a destination. It's about staying in the game, learning, growing. Resetting your life isn't about waiting for the perfect moment, the right circumstances, or some grand opportunity to appear. It's about making the decision right now to take back control, to step out of autopilot, to stop living by default and start living by design. It's about gaining clarity of purpose so that every decision you make aligns with the person you want to become. It's about embracing discomfort because true growth only happens when you push beyond what's familiar. It's about auditing your circle, surrounding yourself with people who elevate you rather than hold you back. It's about breaking the cycle of self-sabotage, challenging the patterns that no longer serve you, and choosing a different path. It's about recognizing that small shifts lead to big impact. Because success isn't about massive leaps, but consistent steps forward. And most importantly, it's about committing to the infinite game. Understanding that life isn't about reaching a final destination, but about continuous learning, evolving, and expanding. This is your moment. Not next week, not next year, not someday, right now. The reset button has always been in your hands. The question is, are you ready to press it?